Hey guys, Karnak here, Star Wars Armada Explained. Thanks for joining me again for another video. We're going to look at the objective card, Capture the VIP. So Capture the VIP, as far as objectives go, actually really straightforward, very simple, easy to understand. No crazy things going on, happening. So let's just jump right in. So I'll just say right off, this card doesn't have any special clarifications or crazy interactions. So I'm just going to read it straightforward. It says, setup. After placing obstacles, the second player places one objective token at distance 1 of any obstacle and beyond distance 5 of all edges of the setup area. So, we're going to say that the first player is this pesky rebel with the Nebulon in the MC-75 and the Assault Potato. Empire's got a Star Destroyer, an Archidans, and a Raider. So say that all the obstacles got placed down. Of course, making sure you're abiding by all the rules for doing that. All right, all the obstacles got placed. Now the second player places the objective token. Uh, let's see here. At distance 1 of any obstacle and beyond distance 5 of all the edges of the setup area. So, as second player, typically you want to make sure you're placing in the middle. Go ahead and take this objective token. We're going to check the at distance 1, which again, for on Vassal, distance 1 is the black, distance 2 is red, 3 is the orange, 4 is this peach, and 5 is yellow. So when it says at means that it can be at any part of the range band, meaning that it can be just barely touching that distance 1. That is at distance 1. Because otherwise it would say something like within, or it needs to be completely within that circle, that range band, which it doesn't have to be. So we're going to go ahead and say that, you know what, we're going to put it at distance 1 of the obstacle, but it's still beyond distance 5, which is what this horizontal line is here. The second one from the bottom is range 5. The first one is range 3, just so you guys know. Alright, so it's beyond distance 5, it's at range 1 of the obstacle, so we fulfill the requirements of placing the objective token. Special rule, when a ship at distance 1 of the objective token reveals a command dial, the ship's owner may remove that token, the objective token, from the play area and place it on that ship's card. When a ship with the objective token on its ship card is destroyed, the opposing player places the objective token in the play area, touching the destroyed ship's base. End of game. If a ship's player has the objective token, that player gains one victory token. That victory token is worth 50 points, as you see there in the bottom right hand corner of the card. Pretty much, it's like football. Whoever has the ball gets points. If you don't have the ball, you don't get any points. And in this case, the ball is a VIP. So we've placed the token, and the Imperials have all placed their ships, and the Rebels have all placed their ships. Now, as first player, getting potentially to that token in time, usually not going to happen unless you have squadrons that can manipulate objective tokens like VCXs and Lambdas. And even then, could you, unless you're taking 2 or 3 of those vehicles, or those squadrons, you wouldn't be able to, in a single activation chain, from where it currently is all the way up to one of your ships on the first activation to be able to claim it. It would be very difficult. Not that it can't be done, just difficult, and you're spending a lot of points for something like that. So typically, a second player almost always will be able to claim that token for their side. Depending, again, it all just depends on if there's strategic in play or not. Now, as first player, your information can be based on that to kind of set up to try to cut off escape routes, etc. Second player is, largely you just want to claim the ball and have points and deny it to the other player. Now, it does make a note on here that pretty much any ship can pick up this token. You don't need to designate an objective ship like we have to do with some other objective cards. Any ship at distance 1 may pick it up. The may being you don't have to pick it up if you don't want to. So then whenever you do get within distance 1 of the token, we'll say that everyone progressed ahead 1 movement. we go. And now we see that the, oh, I didn't quite do that right. We'll say the Star Destroyer is now within distance 1. So the next time that Star Destroyer activates, if he wants to pick up that objective token, he can, and then he can claim it. Some things that affect this card is Jen Urso, because Jen Urso, she's a boarding team for the Rebels. If she manages to board the objective ship, she can get a victory token, meaning that not only if you're an enemy player, if you board the team that has that objective token on it, you can get a victory token, which is 50 points. You don't even have to have the objective token. But if you do kill that ship and then also claim the objective token, you could walk away with a cool 100 points at the end of this if you've got Jen Ursul. So that's pretty interesting. So she really likes this objective for that reason. What to do with when the ship is destroyed. So if the objective token is on a ship, if it gets destroyed, before you remove the destroyed ship from play, and this happens all the time, the ship gets picked up and people are like, oh yeah, the VIP, and then you have to try to remember where it was. Make sure that that token, and again, you as the person who destroyed it, you get the place where it goes, and it has to be touching the ship base, not, and then you can put that down anywhere you want, and then the destroyed ship is removed. Now, this is a question that's been brought up once or twice. What happens if a ship with the objective token completely flies off the table? What happens if the guy just turns around and he flies right off the table the next turn? What happens with the objective token? Well, most people would just assume, well, it flew off the board and that's that, and the VIP just gets jetted out into space and no one gets to save him. That's not actually true. So when a ship does fly off the board, you actually place the objective token as close to the edge of the mat as to where the ship ended its final movement. So in this situation, even though the ISD ended, we'll say that he ended his movement like this, pretend he's flying the other way. You'll see that the closest position from where he ended his movement is this corner here. So you would place the objective token as closest to where the enemy ship was destroyed on the playmat. That is when I talk to other people on the Armada Discord about how would that play out. That was the consensus that was drawn, because technically it says technically a ship, when it flies off the board mat, it's destroyed. It specifically states the ship is destroyed. It's not removed. You destroy it and then you remove it, but it gets destroyed. And again, what does it say on the card? When a ship with the objective token on the ship card is destroyed, the opposing player places the objective token in the play area, touching the destroyed ship's base. In this case, you can't get it to touch because it's off the board, but you still deploy it in the play area. You just have to place it as close as you can to the ship. You still have to follow all the stipulations of what it says there. So even though you can't physically touch the base to it, you're still making every effort to accomplish that as written within the card. And then again, if you control the token at the end of the game, you get 50 points. If nobody controls the token, nobody gets any extra points at all. Now, there is one little neat thing. I can definitely feel like a lot of SSD players are going to take the objective token, because as you saw out here, distance 5, that's quite a ways, even for starting ships to try to get to, unless, other ships are activating other squadrons. Maybe you've got Squall. But specifically for the Empire, if you bring a Super Star Destroyer, you can just plop that thing down right on top of that token, and it's yours on your first activation. You didn't have to go through any effort. It's not too hard. Obviously, if the other player's first player, if they've got strategic, maybe they can come down and still drag that away from you. But even then, distance 1 on SSD is still pretty far. And if you see here, even if a shuttle was to come down and grab it and yoink it away, it still would be pretty difficult to completely get that out away from a Super Star Destroyer. But yeah, as soon as the Super Star Destroyer activates, it can claim that token, and Now it has the VIP, and then instead of getting 400 points, because essentially that's how most games I've played with the SSD have gone, where you have to table your opponent, and it's pretty much you either get full 400 points or nothing. Now it's 450 points, potentially on the table. So anyway, I've done a little bit of rambling with this just because it was so straightforward. Again, I want to try to make sure I was hitting some of the beats on it and a couple other things. But that's Capture the VIP, really laid back. Of course, if you feel like anything's in error, if I got anything wrong, please be sure to leave a comment in the video below. I always respond. Appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you all next time.